I hope you will have this handout with you, right? Do you? Soft copy or hard copy? Will you complete this area today? As I heard, we have only 12 weeks also, right? This is the third week. And we will complete the second topic on operations management. And this is something very important that most of the managers don't understand. And then, of course, even in the subject, something new that not many people understand the importance of it. What is the area we are going to cover today? Something called operations strategy. As management students, maybe as chartered accountant students studying a professional area, we are familiar with this idea. Strategy, we are familiar with this idea as an important area. So here in this topic, we try to understand strategy for operations department. Operations function of business, what we call operations strategy. So in the content, we try to cover simple content here, but very useful. What we call define the operations, I mean, what it is, and then identify why for business it is important to have a strategy for the operations. Why? Then, of course, there are different what we call perspectives. Hello, what we call perspectives of operation strategy, right? Perspective. The ways in which we can look at operation strategy. In a way that helps us looking at the operation strategy from different points of view. Right? On the other side, you will understand the same perspectives can be used to develop operation strategy. Ways to develop this we'll understand that quickly. Okay. And then, of course, in developing strategy for operations function, operations activities, we identify that most of the successful companies, successful industries, successful businesses, basically focusing on certain areas, certain direction. In other words, the starter can be today. Most of the successful businesses, they develop their strategies based on certain direction, keep certain objectives in their mind. We call them operations performance objectives. There are few such commonly used operations performance objectives that businesses may use to develop basically operation strategy. And it comes first the people. No. Right. So we quickly identify what are those different directions and why we consider them as appropriate for different businesses. And have a simple idea on how strategy could be developed and how they should be implemented and thereby make unknown. Is that clear? A useful but simple content at your level, but practically that is very useful. Okay. Second topic, hello, operation strategy that we are going to start. I hope there are other participants also online. There are two that I guess. If, there are two, only one. I hope you can hear us, right? I should identify your name from there. Those
okay, so it's clear. It's clear. I'm Galle.
Great. And feel free to make your voice, unmute yourself, and ask questions. Right?
Sure, sir. Sure.
Are you ready? Now there are a few slides here. to introduce you some basic concepts, but I don't really want to explain everything there, knowing that you are coming from industry, you are familiar with these terms and all. So let me quickly check with you what you know about it and explain to you the area we are going to, that is operations. So now, the strategy, the term strategy is a common thing, right? That we use everyday life even now. But in business organization, business management, that has a particular meaning. So strategy, in your understanding, now, when it comes to businesses, we talk about strategies at 3 different levels at least. That you're familiar with. What are those 3 levels? At corporate level, group of businesses, there can be one common. Now, within a group of businesses, for each and every specific business, what we call strategic business units, each business may have a particular strategy for the entire business, and that we call business strategy. Okay. The strategy for the business, for the SBU. Don't feel scolding. It's a group of companies. So for the entire group, there can be a corporate strategy set by the board of directors and the group heads. Aligning with the corporate strategies for individual businesses coming under the holding can have business strategy. Right? And that we could. So, for an example, like let's say Union Bank, no, Union Assurance, right? One business coming and they engage. They have separate business strategy for the entire business. So as to their let's say consumer products like cold stores and various other businesses they have, from retail sections to hotels to various other agents. Specific businesses have their business. That is very common, right? Up to that point, things are clear. But during the last 2 to 3 decades, there's a growing concern now, not only for the business, each functional areas also there should be. Managers are convinced now to have finance strategies and marketing strategies, but unfortunately not so for operations. Should we have a separate strategy for a functional area like operations? That is the concern. However, in the last 2 to 3 decades, many businesses have realized important to have strategies for functional areas like operations. That is the third level of strategy that we talk about, functional level, where we, but functional level, department, right? So the finance, that will be finance. Marketing. So as operations, and then is a clear. So what could be the meaning of this strategy, and particularly about operations strategy that we need? What is the meaning? How can you describe it? This is a strategy, and our concern is operational strategy. What do you know about? Action plan. So that is a simple way that we describe a set of action plans. That is one way of looking at it. Action plan. Okay. A set of activities we are going to do with that. A set of actions that we try to implement. Okay. Yes. That maybe is fine, but there should be a different broader understanding. Because the meaning of strategy is something different. As a strategy, automation. Well, automation is one kind of practice that we see. As a strategy, no, I mean, As a part of strategy implementation, they might introduce such changes like automation. But strategy is something different. What it could be? Yeah. Any idea?
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
So there's X matrix. That one fall under which category? Like in strategy, there's some like a X matrix method or something. I heard something like that. So that one fall under business strategy or corporate strategy.
I couldn't get your point. What you mean by X metrics here?
The thing is, sir, that very recently, in my organization, we have separate strategy department. So in this strategy department, they send us a new formula, like they call for that X matrix. So under this X matrix, they said that under this X matrix, we have to have one step like action plan. Right now, you said the action plan, right? So in our organization, we also doing this action plan. One format is there. So each month we are updating this action plan details and everything. Then we will submit that onto the strategy department. So after that, strategy department, they are developing separately X matrix formula. So after that, they will present that one in the BOD meetings. So the thing is that still I couldn't understand this X matrix, how they are filling it, but to fill this X matrix, they are getting all the details through us from these action plans.
Definitely, it's that functional level, whatever the name they're calling, whether that is X matrix or Y, that is definitely a kind of progress tracking mechanism. I understand, right? So how, I mean, to measure, to track whether the implemented strategy is delivering the result, they're having this format to monitor it, right? So for that, they get data from, and monthly they evaluate it and present that to the board of directors, it seems. So that could be a kind of monitoring mechanism, right? Tracking mechanism as to how the implemented strategy is delivering the results. Hope you get my point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's clear. Yeah. Okay.
So, but strategy is something different and something broader. And especially when it comes to a functional strategy, something like that, right? That is for the department, that is for the functional area. But still, we try to get the meaning of this. What is the meaning of a strategy, right? So, from business level to functional level, the meaning is more or less same. What is the meaning of a strategy? Why that is the? Let's see. Yeah, we had a question. To what point? To what point we drive to the business? Can't we consider that as the mission of the business? You mean say where we want to reach? Isn't so? Okay. So that is the destination we want to be from after 3 years, 5 years, 10 to 15 years. In business language, we call that the mission. Isn't so? We have a mission for the business, and then your way of doing business. It's a mission, I guess, but that has a role to play here. Where you want to be, and strategy is one thing. It's about how we are going there, how we are reaching to the destination. There can be different ways to go there, different paths, of course, different options. So, someone is responsible for the entire business performance. They should carefully identify and educate others. What is the method? What is the path that you take to reach there? That carefully selected path is what we call the strategy. That's the simplest way that you can understand. There are different destinations we want to be. So the selected approach, what approach, what path we are applying here, so there is the strategy. So let's discuss about it. Now, to reach to a particular destination, there can be multiple ways, multiple paths. Right. So, of course, strategy is all about carefully selecting one option. We're making that selection. Who should actually take such decisions or selections on behalf of business? Strategic decisions are taken by corporate managers, senior managers, right? Board of directors and other senior managers with the support of experts, industry experts, technology experts. Right? And there are some experts, we call them strategists themselves. Strategists. Who they are? They are strategists. Meaning, what is their role? They've been trained on that. They know the process of what to do, how to select strategies, how to form them in more practical strategies. We call them strategists. So in organizations, there are such people like corporate managers too, board of directors too, and other CEOs, COOs, and other corporate level managers too. External experts and strategists working together to develop strategy. Especially in large scale organizations and well developed organizations, not necessarily small and even medium scale business. Do we see them here? No. Most of the medium scale businesses run by managers themselves, owners themselves. Okay. So where we see them, where we see these strategies there, large scale organizations which are managed by professionally qualified managers. So you want to work with them so that you need to understand them. Clear? So strategies are carefully selection options to reach the long-term objectives of. So for the entire business, there should be a plan, like the corporate, and then of course for the business, there should be a plan that we call business strategy, aligning with that each functional area such as finance, marketing, and operations should have functional strategies that define in the long run in which way they are heading and thereby how you can contribute to the business. Such long-term plan is called operations. Such long-term plan for the operations is what we call operations. Write it down somewhere. It's there in the handout also, but better you write it down somewhere. The long-term direction or the long-term approach. The long-term direction or the long-term approach for operations decision making. What we call like for any other functional strategy, it specifies some of these, it deals with some of these issues and come up with answers for these questions. Like what? How this function, what is it? Operations function now, right? Operations function contributes to the business strategy. And then what are the strategic objectives of operations? Strategic objectives. And it should answer third question also. How are the resources within the operations department? Now you know what we mean by resources, right? Everything allocated to operations department, from factories to technologies to production lines to staff to technologies to everything. How such resources are managed within the operations department? And the other questions should also be answered. What technology do we use in the department or function? And then what skills are required by workers in the function like what? Until very recently, that has not been considered something serious. Businesses, they had business strategies, and other departments just contribute to realize it. That way, it didn't work as expected. So, go through the slide number 3 as well. That is a simple but very specific definition for this term strategy. Check whether you can understand it. Strategy is all about the strategic direction or the scope of an organization over the long term. That specifies the industry and given all the environmental changes, marketing or market conditions and all, how the business is going to compete with others and be competitive in that. And thereby fulfill the expectations of various different stakeholders. What are the points that are not clear? What do you need to ask from me? Just start and you will have to pick the joy. We are talking about process strategy. Any term that is not clear, something that you need to do more details. As you know, what is the starting point when it comes to strategy formulation? What should be the starting point? What is the starting point? Well, usually for the corporate there can be strategies and that will be taken down to business and function way. That is true. Whatever the level, will formulate the strategies. What is the starting step? The initial step, as you know, that we need to begin with. In one way, that could be one starting point, which we should carefully and comprehensively understand what we want to do. The requirements of business should be understood. Okay? So, in business language, what is the step that we identify the business objectives, where they want to be and everything? Language, we call it we have to conduct an environment. So that is the starting point for any study formulation. It is true for operational study. What is the starting point? Environmental analysis. Whoever involved in this decision making should carefully and comprehensively analyze the environment. Under the environment, one part is business. So what are the two main elements that we identify in this business environment? We classify it into for our studying purpose as external environment and external environment and external environment. Right? So in this, both environments should be assessed. Both external environment and internal. These are very common points that you know. Right, when it comes to external, environmental forces in one side, right? That we use, I mean, what is the framework we use here to analyze the macro environmental forces and their impact to the business? What is the framework? There are different frameworks, but commonly used. Are you familiar with this idea of physical analysis? Physical analysis is a common tool that helps us analyzing different macro environment. I'm not going to explain it in the study. That is for the macro environment. And then, of course, to understand the industry environment. Industry. Is that internal or external? External, but very close to the business. Right? Other competitors are there, substitute products are there, and other key factors directly affecting the business. We call it task environment. And for that, there are different tools and techniques we use to analyze it. Now, say for example, a manufacturing firm producing furniture items and supplying to local market. And if they want to analyze the environment and come up with strategies, they should analyze the macro environment plus the furniture industry itself. And business manufacturer like CDL or Manchi, they need to understand the macro environment plus the snacks industry, confectionery industry, like come up with a better strategy. Clear? Those are two different things. Furniture industry, confectionery industry. And when it comes to banking, that's different. They need to understand it separately. Whatever it is, there is external environment that should be analyzed. Clear? Using various different tools, techniques, methods that you may have already studied, or you may study separately. Which are applicable for operational strategy formulation as well. I'm not going to explain much. We just started the second topic, quickly going, and it's operation strategy. Simple idea is a long-term plan for operations. The must now. Now, in addition to the macro and task environment, then what they should analyze? Internal environment. Internal, between the business and their stakeholders, the key stakeholders. And carefully understand the existing current situation. We try to understand the meaning of strategy, and here strategy can be discussed at 3 levels. And operational strategy is at functional level, that is based on the industry, based on the environment analysis, based on the findings, based on the key insights they gather, then they will have to identify what they want to do in future, like vision, mission, and everything that as they specify for the business. Aiming at the mission, right? Then they will have to come up with what strategy we are going to. When we set that strategy for the business, we call it business strategy. And within the business, there are the functional areas, marketing, finance, operations, and others. Right? So they should have their functional strategies that specifies how they are going to contribute to the business. That is that simple. I hope you get the point. That is the alignment. Right? So well-performing industry, well-performing businesses, industry leaders, and best performing companies in the world, they of course have such properly align strategies so that everyone knows what they do. And what they're supposed to do. That is this. However, when finance managers talk about finance strategy, many managers understand the need for finance strategy. When marketing managers, marketing experts talk about marketing strategies, all the managers and corporate managers understand the need for marketing strategies. But until very recent, many managers, corporate managers even, they didn't understand the importance of a long-term plan for operation. Why should there be a separate strategy? Is that necessary or something like that? It's important. For many people, including business managers to finance to marketing to other managers, and of course, business management students, coming from accounting background, coming from finance background, like you, right? And even other management students. Operations are just day-to-day operational work. If it is manufacturing, like garments, operations is all about producing garment items and completing orders and delivering, right? Which is very operational. If it is biscuits manufacturing, it's about manufacturing biscuits according to the production plan and then dispatch the orders and supply to the market. Operation. You take industries like service industries, banking, operations is all about maintaining day-to-day banking operations at branch level and delivering services to customers. You take a hospital, maintaining day-to-day hospital operations, right, and providing healthcare services to patients. That is what we call operations management. This is the point is that for most of the people, operations are anyway operational. That means day-to-day manufacturing and service creation. How? So, we need to understand that operations can play a strategic role. We need to understand that we need to consider it. Does that mean? How can you understand that? Does that make sense? Do you think? Do you agree when I say so? Operations can play a strategic role in this. What do you mean by strategic? Yeah. What means strategic here? Organizational wide impact, long-term impact to the business structure. Organizational wide impact, long-term impact on the business. Can we expect such long-term organizational wide impacts from business, I mean operations? Operations is all about manufacturing, it's about producing products. Services, it's about creating and delivering services, right? So that points are placed. What is the strategic impact of operations? Bukan demikian relief. You are coming from industry. I'm just a level qualified student. So what do you think? Well, when it comes to business, whether that is manufacturing or service, operations involving value creation, and then of course all the processes, all the activities involved in that value creation that we can consider under the operations. So of course, operations have a strategic role to play in business. It's all about the transformation process, not just the manufacturing steps or producing products. No, it's all about the entire transformation process used in the business and thereby produce something competitive in the market that compared to others of same in the industry, there are other suppliers. So to be competitive in the industry, operations won't play. Can you understand that? So that is what we call the strategic contribution of operation. That has been ignored for a very long time. Can you understand it? When you study operations management, you should understand in every business, operations have a strategic role to play. Not day-to-day operations activities only. Operations have a strategic role to play and to understand how to do that and how we are going to do that. There should be a long-term decision-making process, long-term approach to make decisions. That plan, that approach is what we call the long-term operation strategy for the business. That should be aligned with the business strategy and other functional strategies. Then only the entire business operates smoothly. Clear? And I should understand that very clearly. And that plan is called. So one should be able to examine, understand both operational aspect of operations plus strategic aspect of. That is how we can simply tell. Any questions? Any doubts? One is there are two. Right? If you have some doubts, please. I didn't give you much explanation, much examples yet. But this is as a technical point or a theory point, I'm explaining. Do you agree or do you have any doubts? Any concept that is not clear? Feel free to ask some questions. Okay. Initially, you are understanding about this idea. What it means? Do you understand the meaning of operation strategy? And then later we will discuss how operation strategy should be developed, what concept should be used when developing operation strategies and all. Right? You just answer point for me now based on the content just covered. Right? Sometimes you will be able to answer a question like define what operation strategy is and show the link between operation strategy and the business strategy. Right? Or a very specific question like I will give you a statement. Right? But if I give you a statement like operations may have strategic role to play in business. Do you agree? Justify your answer. Something like that. What do you think about it? What do you think? As per the explanation so far. That's a good question to ask, right? What do you think now? Can you repeat that question? We use two terms here. One is operational strategy, and the other one is business strategy. The question is, are they same or two different things? It's a very good question. What do you think? Hello? Hello? Two different things. So what is the main difference we see here? That's very good. Right. What is the main difference here between BS and OS? Well, in a way, yes. Right. OS is one aspect that comes under BS. So the scope of BS is broader, and the scope of OS is relatively narrower. That's specific to the operations part. But BS that covers the entire. Slide number 7 gives you one precise statement here. Sometimes not only operation strategy, we talked about the supply strategy as well together. So in some textbook, it goes as operations and supply strategy. How can we define it? Operations strategy is the approach which is consistent with the business strategy that is used to guide the operations function of a firm in the long run. So it's all about, or it's dealing with setting broader policies and plans for the operations department. Setting broader policies and plans. Broader in the sense, more than 2 to 5 years sometimes, around 2 to 5 years, 10 years time. So in which way we are heading. Having such a long term plan for the operations so that it specifies how operations activities will be arranged, support the business strategy. Having such long-term plan. Based on that plan, the medium-term and short-term operations management decisions will be made. What we mean by medium-term in decision making? Medium-term, long-term, that is more than 1 year or 18 months. Above 18 months, 1 year, maybe 1 to 5 years, 1 to 10 years, we consider as long-term. What is medium-term? Hello? 3 months to 12 months or so in business decision making, we consider as medium term, and then short term. Hello? Short term? Less than 3 months, right? So weekly and monthly, and up to 3 months or so, we consider as short. So now, strategy is for the long term. That guides them what? Medium term and short term. So now that's about the concept. What is the concept? Operational strategy. Very simple question. Do we see them in every business? Can we identify business strategies, operational strategies in every business? Why? Managers are not so. Managers are not so aware of the need for operational strategies. They just manage operations without having a clear plan. Do you agree? Where can we see this? On a many companies are well managed organization, well managed industry. Highly competitive industries we see. Otherwise, they can't compete with each other. Compete with each other to have, we call it to be competitive. Businesses need to have well specified, well focused strategies. Clear? So this is a framework that I have taken from Nigel's textbook on operations management that helps us understanding the need for operations. So operational strategy is the long-term plan for operations, right? Long-term plan for the operations based on which operations decisions are taken, whether that is long-term decisions or medium-term, short-term decisions, and even the improvements aligning with the strategy. And that strategy is based on the operations strategic objectives, which are derived from the market positioning. That is what it is. Where we want to be in the market, how we are going to compete with other businesses. Based on that, we need to identify our operations strategic objectives, and aiming at that, we should specify the strategy, and based on the strategy, we should make operations decisions. Then only everything connects nicely and heading towards one direction. If you take a manufacturing company like MAS, right, they exactly know what they want to achieve, what kind of market segments they are catering, and to cater who are the other competitors available, compared to them in which way we are providing something unique to our clients. What are our competitive advantages? And to achieve those competitive advantages, how we should make operations decisions, what strategy we should follow. Those are carefully directed, carefully identified. In this topic, we quickly try to understand certain concepts. Is that clear? What are clear? At some point that now, so when you go forward, you will understand the rest. Right? This is the point. Is that clear? Is that clear? Concept clear? Here are the one examples. We can discuss examples and different industries so that you can understand. Clear? First of all, you need to be convinced that we need to have a long-term plan like that. What if business doesn't have such a long-term, clear strategy for operations? What will happen? You can understand what will happen by looking at most of the small-scale manufacturing firms, small-scale service firms. They start today, after running for a few months, they collapse. Sometimes they start today, and even after 3 years, 5 years, they are still there. The same level, producing the same thing at the same level. Can you understand it? That is what happens when you don't have clear and more appropriate strategy. Hope you get the point. Right? Compete. To be competitive, to aim at, to reach where you want to be, you need to have long-term plans, and that is called, for the operations, we call it operations. Okay? I hope things are clear, but these technical terms, if you are not familiar, feel free to ask questions. Explain. You need to work with me, you need to think with me. That is how at university level it works, right? I won't be able to this is also too much. You need to understand. I'm not going to explain these two slides also. I will explain the slide number 10, but now if I have taken this from a textbook, I'll go through, and these are few points for us to identify why such long-term plan for operation is needed. Why operation strategy is needed. Few points. Check whether you all agree with these points. When a business have an operation strategy, it provides a plan for the operations decision making, which is a must. And in a way, that operation strategy relates to the operation strategy. Through the operation strategy, operations department is connected to the business strategy. Third point, that long-term plan for business of operations, long-term plan for operations, in other words, operation strategy, makes best use of resources and thereby help the business to develop something called competitive advantage. That you know, right? Competitive advantage. Clear? What you can do better than your competitors. What you are good at. Your business is good at. Competitive advantage. It could be you can produce the same product at the lowest possible cost compared to other competitors. That is your cost advantage. You're capable of producing it at low cost. You have an advantage, cost advantage. So likewise, sometimes you have a kind of recently developed, designed new product, innovative product. Other competitors may have very old product. They have traditional old products, but you have a innovative product. With a lot of new features. So is that an advantage? So you compete based on the innovation. Some others they compete based on cost. Clear? So strategies help businesses to develop competitive advantage. And the other points. Just to go through. Final point here, based on the success of the show, based on the effectiveness of the operation strategy, operations performance of the business will be determined. So as the business performs. That is why they are critical the operation strategy. If some terms are not clear, some ideas are not clear, feel free. You are free to ask questions. Those who are there with us online also can come up with doubts. Is it clear what we mean by operational strategy for a business? Why a long-term plan for operations needed? That is what we discussed so far. Any question? No? Please tell us drawing in. Right. This is the last page before the feedback ideas. So these are few, four main characteristics explained in textbooks, right? As good characteristics of operation strategies. In operation strategies, these characteristics. These characteristics we consider they're better. What is the first point? Operational strategy should be appropriate. That has a broader meaning by the way. Operational strategy should be appropriate for what? Now, can all the businesses have the same type of strategies? Different organizations, different industries may require different strategy. The strategy should be appropriate to the industry. Should be appropriate to the industry. So how in confectionery industry, they are producing to consumer markets. Confectionery industry, biscuits and all, or beverage industry, they produce to consumers. Their strategy should be appropriate to the consumer market. But at the same time, assume that a fabric manufacturer producing fabric for garments industry. The industry is different, so that they should come up with a different strategy appropriate to the industry. Let's say computer component manufacturers producing products, their output as components to computer assembling companies. Right? They should carefully assess the industry, and their strategy should be appropriate for it. Understanding? So, as automobile manufacturers, strategy should be appropriate. Now, within the same industry, can different competitors have the same strategy? In confection industry, here in Sri Lanka, we have CBL, we have Melbourne, we have few others. Can each business follow the same strategy? Would it work? No. Right? Strategy should be appropriate to the business. Its internal and external environment should be appropriate. Okay. Third question now, let me ask. Can a business implement the same strategy again and again and again after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Should it be the same? They will have to adjust it, right? So they can't continue with the same strategy. Should be appropriate to the time, market, and other changes, right? It can be improved. Should be improved. Appropriate to the time, to the market, and everything as well. Clear? However, when they do so, adjustments and all, it should be consistent. Both characteristics. Consistent. So whatever the changes should be aligned with the previous strategy. Should be totally different one. It won't work there. Clear? Can be modified, but should be consistent. Nestle, one of the leading global business in food processing. Various different products, food processing operations are there for various different. So clearly, they are one of the best in product innovation. First of all, you may have heard, if you just Google their product portfolio, how many different products they produce in various different product lines, right? They are one of the innovative companies in the world in food processing. So, over a period of time, 4 to 5 decades, the strategy has been consistent in that innovation and the quality. Innovation and the quality. Understanding? Consistent. Okay. In automobile industry, one of the leading automobile manufacturers became Toyota in the global market. Right? Toyota is known for what is their strategy? As you know, Toyota is known for Toyota is known for in the global market. latest technology is that where they are upgrading the product features and everything. Their products are somewhat latest, but then there are other competitors. They are competing on innovation, not the Toyota. What is the winning point? What is the competitive advantage they maintain in the global market? In their operations, their business. Just asking, simple understanding. Answers can be correct or wrong, doesn't matter. What is competitive advantage there? First, low cost manufacturing. Is that? You can be there, yes. You can be there. Is that what you would say? Low cost? Yes. To a great extent, they are in the global market. They are known for economical cars. Economic. Right. In terms of initial cost and then the maintenance. Compared to many other leading automobile brands, they are more economic. Competitive prices, not lowest, but competitive prices. And compared to other automobile manufacturers like Mercedes, BMW, and other leading European brands, Toyota is known for low cost, but acceptable, reliable quality, not low quality, medium quality, right, or reliable quality at a competitive price. That's the leading edge. So during the last 4 to 5 years, or 4 to 5 decades, they have been consistent on that. So they know exactly what is their strategy, how they have clear. Not only the top management, everyone in the decision-making process, they know this is our strategy. So when they develop new products, when they develop technologies, when they locate their plants, when they select their suppliers, everywhere, when they provide their customer service, everywhere they have one common goal. They know exactly what they want to do. Is that clear? That plan helps them doing everything in the same direction. That is what is needed. I gave you a few examples, write them down and find a little more detail. That operational strategy should be comprehensive. It should be one or two key points, one or two words that describes, oh, you are doing the business in this way. It shouldn't be one or two words. It should be something comprehensive enough for the decision makers to make this. Comprehensive. Hello? Comprehensive. That should be detailed enough. The strategy should be detailed enough for the decision. I'll say one example. This is one of the textbooks example. Somewhere in 1990s, 21st century, in the US market, there have been different computer manufacturers. So that is the decade that the demand for PCs, personal computers, expanded rapidly. There have been different suppliers. I know you are aware of Dell. They had started initially assembling computers in the US market. So their strategy has been Now there are other computer manufacturers, branded products, right? They have their factories that they use to manufacture different computer components. So, computer manufacturing is a complicated process that requires different components. Those factories and those brands, they have manufactured those computers and then finally offered branded computers to the market. In that environment, Dell, within very short time period, they have been able to capture the market. Certain percentage. So when they explain how they have done that, initially they have started purchasing computer components bulk from various different suppliers. Right? So they purchase different components, computer motherboards to RAM to various other parts. They have purchased them from different suppliers as bulk. Right? And at the same time, they have taken orders from their customers. Right? Especially different business organizations. So different businesses may use computers for different purposes. Can you understand it? Now, in normal offices, they may use it for just processing the word and office documents, right? Maybe for design companies, they use for some other functions. For some other businesses, they may, like banks and all, they may require some other function. So what they had initially offered is their strategy has been taking orders from different customers, different businesses, and then providing customized PCs at a competitive price. Not at a very high price, but a customized PC at a competitive price using the purchased component. They are not going to manufacture. If they are going to manufacture it, the cost would be very high. So they purchased items from it. And they had come up with an agreement with United Parts and Services, what they call UPS, courier company, to deliver the computers to customers. Right. So that has been their estimate. Now see, in an industry where all the other suppliers supplying standardized branded computers, they had come up with a different strategy. All the operations activities are aligned with that. And that had helped them within the market. Understand? So that strategy is comprehensive enough. Not only 1 or 2 points. They have analyzed the environment, identified the competitors, what competitors are good at, what we need to develop, and accordingly develop the aligning with that strategy, they have made all the processes. They are to establish their assembly plans, from where to buy, how to maintain the quality, how to reduce the cost, everything. Understand it? That is comprehensive enough. So businesses should have comprehensive approach. That's why it says coherent. What is the meaning of that? That is the point before I'm going to after that we can go for deeper. Coherent. What's the meaning of that? Coherent can go on with it. Coherent. Operation strategy should be coherent. Coherent. The simple idea is that now these different elements of the strategy should be fit together. Should be nicely fit. Aligned together. Glued together. Different elements of the strategy should be fitting together. then only that strategy works. These are the characteristics that we should keep in mind when thinking of strategies for operation. Right? So it should begin with the environmental analysis, identify internal and external environment, and accordingly identify how we are going to be unique, different, face the competition. Okay? And then come up with a long-term plan for the operations that purpose of the business. Okay? So after the break, we will talk about these four perspectives. Plus, now how such a plan can be developed. Such a strategy can be identified based on these different. I will not take a long time. Will you be here by 15 minutes? we were talking about a plan for the operations department, long-term plan that is called operation strategy. So far, we have discussed what it is, why that is important, why that is needed, and then few characteristics of operation strategy. Now, in the next probably 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes, let's quickly identify some other concepts related to this, especially what we call these 4 perspectives on operations. In other words, how can we look at operational strategy from different sides? Those perspectives can also be used when developing the operational strategies. By looking at these, how can we think of different approaches to develop operational strategies? There are 4. Namely, there is this traditional idea, right? The most conventional way of looking at it, we call it top-down perspective on operations. What is the name of it? Top-down perspective. As many of you can understand in simple terms. Now, as a business, there can be a long-term plan for the business, right? What we call business strategy. Or in general, they can have a common plan for the business that recommends operations. Okay, this is what you should do. Aligning with the business strategy, operational strategy can be developed. That is how it has happened during the last few decades. Right? Most traditional, conventional way. Business recommends operations, what they should be doing in the long run. Clear? Board of directors, managing director, and everything tells operations manager, okay, we are heading this direction, you should contribute to this. That is that. Right? So that is the most conventional, traditional way of looking at it. However, during 90s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, there are other views on operational strategy. 2 of such views are market requirement perspective and then operations resource perspective. That has a lot of popularity, a lot of recognition for practical. Let's begin with this one, market requirement perspective. What is that? Market requirement perspective on operations strategy. Very practical, very effective way. You know, market requirement, that is the marketing approach. Businesses are following marketing approach to a great extent now. They've studied marketing, right? So in marketing, what happens? How businesses are expected to manage their business when they follow marketing approach. Yeah. How marketing approach practiced. Hello? Yes. Okay. You make business decisions thinking from the customer's side. Okay. And then business should be redefined from the market side, from the customer side. I don't know whether this concept makes sense to you. They are not rocket science, right? These are common terms that we use in management, business, education, and marketing, right? I hope you are with me. Right? So marketing is all about redefining the business from the customer side and make all the business decisions aiming at customer satisfaction. One way of doing it. And then you have some more points like what? Interesting, right? Rather than just producing something and introduce to the market, that's a marketing approach. We call it. You first of all analyze the market, select market segments, what we call target markets, And aiming at target markets, you offer something different. Target market. Isn't so? Right. So aligning with that, operations identify what target market you want to cater. And aligning with that, the position you want to be, position your product. And based on that, you set your long-term plan for operations. So what operations do they? They do, I mean, they are developing their capabilities to reach where they want to be in the market. Understanding? So in that way, operation strategies can be developed that delivers results. So what markets need? Common market requirement, we call them market capabilities we need to develop, right? And we will discuss in detail later also. Now these are common priorities, common competitive advantages. I will explain in different aspects. But these are the 5 main areas we say that traditionally businesses can consider. There are other subcategories also, right? But here, slide number 25 introduces you another concept. You can consider them as competitive priorities. In some textbooks, they are used as competitive priorities. Same, I explain or described as operations performance objectives. What we want to achieve, and accordingly, there are 5. Right? So, in simple terms, for your simple understanding, these are 5 platforms, 5 competitive advantages that are required in the market that should be considered when developing operations strategy. Right? So what are those 5? This is the technical part or the theory part of it. So you can think of different industries, different companies, to what extent they have combined it, they have used it, right? So these are the 5 main. So namely, one is of course cost priority, also known as price. And from customer side that is price, from business side that is cost. Right? Cost of course is a main priority in the market because in any industry, any company can win if they offer lowest price. To offer products at lowest price, what they should do? They should be able to produce at lowest cost. That is one point. That is, if they want to compete based on cost, they should consider this as a priority and arrange all the operational strategy elements aligning with that direction. What is the direction? Cost. Cost reduction, our lowest cost. That works in any cost. Manufacturing to service to any. If that is the requirement. Understand it? So coming up to market perspective. Cost priority. Can you give me 1 or 2 examples, practical business or real life businesses that you think they are competing based on cost priority? Or in other words, they are following cost strategy in their approach. What we mean by cost strategy here? Very simple. What is it? Lowest cost. How they compete in the market? By offering the lowest price. So that's the example. In any industry, there. Give me a few examples that you think they compete based on cost. So they offer the lowest price. No. Budget Samsung phones. I don't come across that Samsung brand budget. I mean, certain right, okay. Certain designs for different markets. Samsung is usually considered as the above average in terms of quality over growth. Thank you. The brand, but handle devices, digital devices, number one in terms of quality, iPhones, and probably next to that, Samsung is also the global market. But he points to, he came up with a point that they have a separate product line. M series, right? Not the S series, but the M series, aiming at a different market segment, right? And that was at lower, not lowest, but somewhere in the middle, right? That is competitive pricing, not the lowest price today, but your quality is valid, accepted, but let's keep it somewhere in the middle, right? Will come there because anyway they have to compromise. Budget mobile phones, especially certain brands like certain Indian brands, Chinese brands, Malaysian brands are there. Their main aim is to assemble the mobile phones at the lowest cost using whatever the readily available components. So budget mobile. So as there are a lot of budget options. Budget hotels are there. A typical example for this would be budget airline. If you look for a while, how budget airlines manage their operations to offer their airline services at the lowest possible cost, that will help you understand how they budget airline. And you come across, not probably in this part of the world because we are heading. But anyway, in a country like Sri Lanka, highest percentage of customers are they quality conscious or price conscious? Almost price, right? So that in markets like these, companies who can offer lowest prices would be able to get most of them. Any industry. The cost strategy works here in this part of the world was very expensive. And in other parts of the world also. As a sizable market. Low price, low cost in any industry. So one example is the budget airlines in Europe, right, and in the developed part of the world. So during the last 2 decades or so, it seems there has been a growing demand for budget airlines. Ryanair, Southwest Airlines, they have been expanding their operations, been successful. So how aiming at cost strategy, make the other operations decision. How can they offer lowest cost? This is the point we need to understand. Now, budget airlines, if you look for more details, now Southeast Airlines, they are using one standardized type of aircraft only. No more varieties. Same type of aircraft. And they, of course, according to their information, they go by latest design. So, I mean, they buy frequently, newer versions. So, their maintenance costs relatively low. And then they offer their services like seat reservations are not so allowed. Customers can purchase, they offer the lowest ticket prices and first come first serve basis they assign the seats. That's different tariff. and they use very limited cabin crew and staff for each aircraft. And they handle almost all the activities from onboarding to cabin services to everything. They use the same staff. Right? And thereby the operating cost is they have very tight airline schedules, flying schedules. So they minimize the land and the waiting times at the airport, so that they maximum utilize the aircraft they have, and they try to minimize the landed time and increase the flying time. Because when only aircraft are flying, it generates money. And then, of course, they do not offer most of these food items and other things as a part of ticket price. Customers who want to buy, they will have to pay and buy. I don't know. And then, of course, they do not cover most of these expensive airports. They carefully selected the airports, not the main commercial airports, so that the administrative costs and everything is very limited, very low. Right? And they do not offer more long distance traveling, but short distance. Right? And they do not offer what we call transits. Customers who want fly at low cost, according to those requirements, they can offer. Given the market demands, market changes, and all, they have been very. Can you understand it now? So, cost priority, they have carefully designed everything from aircraft to staff to food items to services to everything aligning with the cost priority, so that they can maintain their operations at low cost and with the market. Understand it? The manufacturing firms, they also can consider it. Yeah. So especially manufacturing firms, they depend on how manufacturing firms can produce lowest at lowest cost. What are the techniques? What are the concepts? How they can produce at low cost? The most essential characteristics. Hello. Una karut de lowest price lowest cost product produce okay, we'll come to the raw materials. ඊට කලින් තව කුච්චර දේවල් ගන්න. තව ගොඩක් දේවල් තියෙනවා ප්ලෑන් කරන්න. හරි. අපි කතා කරමු. So what are the other areas? Okay, that's very good option. Right? Most of those companies, they use more machines and machineries and more automation, and thereby reduce the labor cost. The initial investment would be a little higher, but they have these machines and automation and large scale production, especially large scale production supported by automation and using machinery, assembly lines and all. That is a must, because labor cost would be good. So that is one point. Use of machines more than labor, and then large scale production. So what are the other ways to ensure lowest cost? Of course, yes, rather than having their own internal operations for everything, they may outsource certain operations, and they may outsource certain components. They do not manufacture everything, right? So materials, components, and everything, they may purchase at lower cost than producing in-house. Very good observation. Outpoint are being able to manufacture at low cost. They have outsourced most of the components to reliable suppliers. Good. What else? How should be the product? Should it be designed in a more complicated manner with all the complicated features and all? If so, will the product be low cost? No. Most of low cost products, they are very basic, with basic features. And have you noticed that? Then only they can offer that. Then only they can produce that low cost. So product design should be very simple with basic features. Whatever the other options, if they want to buy, that's a separate thing. That is how. So low. I'm just giving you a few examples so that you see the relevance of it and how that is used. I will not explain everything here. But low cost is very commonly used technique. It's a winning strategy for many industries. So from factories to technologies to product designs to labor to suppliers to various other things should be aligned with that direction. Is that clear? Then only they can produce that low cost. The second most commonly used priority is called quality. That means some companies can still win the market by offering the quality product or quality service. Quality means something superior than others. Other competitors may offer something. This company is competing with them by offering the best quality. Meaning of quality can be different, but best thing. So here it is described as do things right or better. At least different than the others. That is what we mean quality-based competition. Also, in some textbooks, the same is described as differentiation. Differentiation is the meaning, right? The company is offering something different, differentiated from different. So, differentiation strategy. Can you think of few examples in real life businesses that you think they are competing based on quality? There are many. In each and every industry there are. One we have already identified in mobile phone, our handheld devices. What is the number one in terms of quality? iPhones, right? Huh? Isn't so? iPhones. Why we consider them as superior or better? Certain features like could be camera, could be appearance, could be the technology, could be the software, could be other features, and could be the design. So the product is unique. That is differentiated. The technology they use, the components they use, they're based on. You get the point. So they have innovative features, latest technology, added software solutions, so whatever the apps, and then that other features like camera and everything. So that when a company competing based on quality, what happens to the prices, so the cost of product? Can they offer them at low cost? No. The company competing quality, of course, they cannot compete on cost. They will have to ignore that. So they will have to compromise that and compete based on that. That's a careful selection, isn't so? Depending on the market segment they want to cater and the positioning they want. aligning with that, operations decisions are made. Does that make sense? In that company based on. Give me a few examples in automobile industry. Which brands? It can be based on quality that is it. Mercedes, of course. So from product designs to innovative features to the technology to right production processes to after sales service. They offer the best. And that is the way of winning the market. So we don't mind, and customers who are willing to buy, they don't consider the price. They go. Like Benz, there can be some other brands also. In terms of performance, and there are some other luxurious brands, Rolls Royce and other brands. Based on quality. Airline services, there are at least few in the world. Hotels, how about hotels? About 5-star, 6-star, 7-star hotels. They are competing based on quality. Hospitals, manufacturing other terms. And understanding quality. I am going to explain things in detail. So, we're talking about operations strategy, a long-term plan for operations. We have almost completed that part. Coming to other winning platforms, there are 3 more that businesses can consider. One such area is what we call the speed-based competition, or the time-based. Meaning, it says do things fast. They compete based on what? Speed. They are the fastest. Certain industry, this matters a lot. Then there are some companies competing based on this. Can you think of some industries and some companies that you think are just since they are competing based on speed? Delivery services or courier services or what we call logistics businesses. This is one such industry where speed matters a lot. Speed, that is the fastest. It doesn't mean that all the courier companies or delivery services they do this. No. Only some. And for that they need a lot of resources, a lot of capabilities. They can be filled. Who says that they deliver the fast? They emphasize the coverage, so the wider coverage everywhere around the all corners of the world. So DHL, I think, focusing in a way differentiation to some extent. Wide coverage, reliable supply. So FedEx, and more than that, there are other international UPS, United Parcel Service, and so on. And then, what are the other courier services? They say that they are fastest. There can be medium scale firms also. Medium scale flexible companies, they offer customized services and faster delivery. Anyway, that clear? What are the other industries? What are other companies in the past? Telecommunication industry. This is important. This is important. Of course, yes, there is one such industry from connections to their services. It matters a lot. Matters a lot. there can be few companies, not in Sri Lanka. None of them are companies based on pay. Right? I mean, it's not about the term. It's not about what they say, what they deliver. Right? They should do that. That is how it works. In Sri Lanka, they promise and they don't deliver. That is not market. That is not operations. That is not marketing. That is not business management. No. They identify, they arrange everything according to the same direction and they deliver. They don't need the management. I have a lot of friends at the SLD and few friends at the mobility. Right? But I have received kind of satisfactory services from SLD, the regular customer. But I have seen a lot of comments, a lot of complaints. So dialogue also same, right? Not speed at all, right? It's a speed again, service make up again. Speed income services, speed matters a lot when it comes to this. Now, speed in the same is don't misunderstand. Now, speed of delivery. Speed of delivery. So do you think some banks they capitalize on this? They use the speed as one main priority when they design and research. Is that important for an industry like banking? Some banks, when it comes to their banking solution, banking services, they promise that, let's say, all the others may take 5 working days to process a loan application, but we within 2 days, within 3 visits, we did that in the fastest. Understand it? Not just they promise, they should deliver it. News agencies, they say they are the fastest. And for that, they need to have all the support in operations infrastructure. Hope you get the point. Right. So speed matters a lot in certain industries. So they compete based on speed. Do things fast. And for that, they charge little higher price, premium price. What you understand by the fourth one here, dependability. In other words, we call it reliability or dependability. They compete based on dependable operations. Dependable. Well, it's also something related to time, but not the fastest. Right? But dependable, which means now they take orders from their clients, promising that the item should be ready and dispatched on or before this due date. Not the fastest, but on or before a deadline. And they make sure that they complete the orders and dispatch on or before the deadline. They are reliable. They compete based on that, and that approach is called dependable operation. That gives them a winning edge in the market. They are of the lowest cost, they are not the highest quality, they are not the fastest, but still they are dependable, so they get this. It's not easy. Okay? But it's not easy. You will have to arrange equipment and all the infrastructure from factories to production lines to technology to work staff to supply relations to all the operations digital. Make sure that you can process orders on time and deliver on before the deadline. And you complete this with that. For example, let's say at least 1 or 2 working for MAs, right? No? Probably. Now, MA is one of the leading apparel manufacturers in Sri Lanka, and of course, one of the global player in Sri Lanka that we can proudly mention. Right? So, what is the winning edge? MA's edge. is the strategy. Well, they need to cover all the other variables also, but mainly they are competing. They are having a winning edge in terms of reliability. They need to cover the others also to some extent. But what is the main point? Main competitive advantage they have developed over a period of time is what is the industry they are in? Yeah, they call it fashion apparel. Okay, fashion apparel that they cater to different segments, different casual wear to sport wears to injuries to the image wear and various other segments. Now, in each segment of what they call clusters, among many other things, they work on dependent. Hope you get the point, right? So, global apparel. Now, let's say Europe, US, and other developed part of the world, developed part. So, their garment requirements depend on the season and the fashion. So that those global apparel brands, who are the kinds of companies like MS and all, right? They design their garment items with their designers and using other strategies and all, and they design the quantities and other things at least 2-3 quarters ahead. For example, now 2024 May, right now they are in the process of designing and finalizing the designs for first part of 2025. It takes 3 to 5 months to finalize things and get things arranged and production and dispatch. There's a time lag between 3 months to 6 months. That is how it happens. The production now taken place, that is for 2 quarters ahead and 2 seasons. That is how it happens. So they should be able to, like, facilities like MS, we call them contract men. What is it? Contract men. They are just doing the production part. Likewise, that has been the trend in the global market. There are brand owners, distributors, and other partners, and at the same time, there are contract manufacturers who are producing the products under different brands. Chinese manufacturers, they are contract manufacturers. They are producing for all the brands. They get the orders, they produce and they brand, they according to the orders, they brand it and then they sell. We call them contract manufacturers. MA is the contract manufacturer competing on. So they should have adequate capacity. When they get the orders, make sure that they produce and deliver. What is capacity here? We'll have a separate topic. That is the factory sizes, production lines, machinery, and the staff. Right? Can they build them within few weeks, few months time? Oh, that should be readily available. When they get orders, they should be able to allocate their capacities for different orders and make sure within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they complete the order and dispatch. So to be dependable, they should have invested a lot. Global market, they can't just compromise quality to zero. No, they ensure the quality, not the highest quality, but dependable. Right. Hope you get the point. Dependability, another leading edge in both manufacturing and services. If that is the market requirement, if that is your market positioning, that edge. But you need flexibility here. That has been another leading edge in global market. Flexibility as a term implies. Flexibility and what? Being able to change easily. Right? So they can, I mean, companies competing on flexibility, they have the capabilities to change their products faster to match with the market requirement. Easily change the product, quickly change the products. And then they can also change the volumes, production volume easily. No additional cost. We call it flexibility. Able to change what we do. Volume, variety, we change according to the market requirement. They're so flexible. So now the idea is this. For theory part is this. Now, when you are focusing on one direction, you will have to compromise others. You can't equally maintain 2, 3, or more than that. You have to compromise. Is that clear? A company planning to compete based on cost will have definitely reduced the quality focus and flexibility focus and other focus. Can you understand it? A company trying to compete based on dependability, right, will have to reduce the quality to a certain extent, and of course the cost to a certain extent. Another that is it. So that idea is called trade-offing. What is it? Trade-off. This is explained here. Trade-off. When you select one priority, you'll have to reduce the recognition given for other priorities to a lower level. However, practically, any business cannot focus on only one priority. They'll have to consider other priorities appropriately or adequately. Right? And when they do, there is this idea called order qualifiers and order winners. You'll go through it later, right? Order qualifiers, in a way, are the basic things that you need to ensure anyway, without which you can't go into the market. Basic things, essential minimum standards in terms of quality, in terms of cost, in terms of speed and all, the basic level. That is called order qualifiers. So any business should have all those levels at least at that level. Right? But to win the market, that is not enough. At least they should be excelling at one end. Beyond those basic, that is called what a winning point. Factors that brings the business to them. Find little more details for it. Order qualifiers are the basic standards that you should maintain in the business. And order winners are the other additional winning points that brings the business to you. So each business, when developing plans, they should carefully blend it. And accordingly come up with the strategy. And to understand that, I have just given you this illustration. This is the technique. In fact, this is a tool you strategy canvas, or we call it a polar diagram, used to elaborate the strategy canvas. Here, this is for operations competitive priorities. Now, as you see here in this diagram, this is a tool that we can use to understand any operation strategy and compare it with other companies' strategies. We call it a strategic canvas. Or technically we call it a polar diagram. Now, what you can see, there are different priorities mentioned in the identified in the diagram. So this is the first line. Quality, speed, flexibility, and dependability. Right. 5 dimensions. Not 2 dimensional, but 5 dimensions. Canvas. Now, to the center, that is the lower concern. To the periphery or to the end, that is the higher concern. So, somewhere to the center, that is lowest concern, and to the periphery, to the end, that is the highest concern. So, a business or any industry, if they want to carefully identify what are the winning edges they want to, they're competing or they want to compete, a tool like this would be useful. Now, see, you identify this blue web here. That is called required performance. The minimum standards in that industry, according to this example. In other words, that could be the order qualifiers. The minimum standards in each dimension the industry requires. Does that make sense? So, I don't know which industry this is, but here, so in terms of cost, somewhere in the middle, maybe 50 or 55 or 55% or so, 50%. So to get the attention in the market, any company should be able to for low price products. That is the industry standard. Products should not be very high prices. Required support. Likewise, you can think of other lines here. Now, in terms of speed, now the market is somewhere here. The minimum requirements are somewhere here. Flexibility here, dependability here, and the quality here. So, by looking at this, the blue wave for this industry, can you see the minimum standards required to operate in this market? What are the top priorities that you identified here? Again, the blue wave. Well, yes, correct. Dependability is very much needed in the market. Any player to win the market, they should be able to have sufficient investment to take orders and then deliver on time. Dependability is very important. So as 100%, but at least 90%, right? Reliable quality, high quality has become a must. And at the same time, managing other priorities appropriately. So that gives you an idea what is required in this market as of now. Depending on the market requirement, and then 5 options there. 5 is. Now, what is given here as the red web here, that is one of the competitors they have considered, how they compete in the industry. They have again analyzed it and illustrated on the web, right, using the red web. Now, compared to the industry requirements, how they are going to have a winning edge? How, in your understanding, how they are going to compete here? Competitor. What are the winning edges? Well, they are offering something faster than others. Right? Even market stand beyond the market expectation. They are competing based on speed and meeting the market quality requirements. And at the same time, in terms of flexibility, also they are performing better. So especially these three winning areas, they are a combination of these three: speed, quality, and flexibility. Can you understand it? That gives them a winning edge, winning formula. And for that, they had decided to compromise because practically they can't maintain everything. So what they have compromised, especially price. Right? See, practically they can't offer the lower prices. So their prices are less competitive. Prices are high. Can you understand it? And what has happened to the dependability? They have reduced the concern on that as well. That is the winning formula. Understand it? So like every business should be able to develop something like, see what is the market requirement, how they are competing, how we are competing. Especially to have winning edges. And then this is the way relevant for the company considered here. That is called our company, yellow way. Now see how they are different, how they are aiming at different market positions. What is the market position as you understand? They're aiming at the company considered as our company. Can you see that? Right? So they are going to compete. Plus, dependability. Right? This is the primary concern there, more dependable. And at the same time, lower cost. Right? And for that, they have compromises some of the others, especially flexibility. See, they have reduced the concern on flexibility to a great extent. And then, of course, quality also, they have compromised, and speed also fastest also compromised. And they're going to compete based on dependability and low cost. And understand? So based on the market position will be. So now what is the important point here? Once they finalize this formula, they'll have to make all the other operations decisions in the same direction. They'll have to design their product in a way like this. Design the product. Arrange the production processes and technology. Use the machines and workers accordingly. Arrange the supply, materials and other things accordingly. Everything. Can you understand? That is what we call finalizing the operation strategy and making other decisions aligned with them. But most of the successful businesses, they have implemented. Others haven't. That is why they are not successful. Does that make sense? That is what you should know about it. I just explained it coming from the market requirements perspective. Give me 5 more minutes, we'll complete it. Now, in addition to these two perspectives, top-down perspective and then market requirement perspective, there are other ways that operation strategy can be understood. Especially this. This is another practical, commonly used technique, commonly used approach. We call it operations resource. From operations resource side, how operations strategy can be seen, can be developed. It's simple, but practical. Now we know operations strategy is the long-term operations plan. Right? When developing that, sometimes it may come from the business or carefully selected from the market. And at the same time, this approach is also popular. They specify the strategy based on their resources. what they can do better, what they have, right? Don't you think that it has a better way to design your strategy? You design your strategy based on what? What you can do better, what your resources are. Especially when you have something unique compared to your competitors, you can capitalize on it and you can develop a strategy based on it. And that approach is called resource perspective. Let me give you one or two examples. Now assume that a company has already spent a lot of resources on their R&D, research and development. They have a lot of capability. They are good at it. They are lab, they are scientists, right? So that they have the capability to design innovative products, product designs. That is one main resource they have. So their strategy would be developed based on that capability. Can you understand it? They keep developing their products, and innovation is their strategy. Why? Compared to other competitors, they are good at their R&D. So strategy based on that. Another example could be a factory that has already established and has a higher capacity. You have a big capacity. All the other competitors may have small capacity. Now, since you have a bigger capacity, that means you can produce in large scale. So you capitalize on it, and your strategy could be producing in large scale and offering product at low cost. Can you understand? The strategy could be based on what you can do better. Now, compared to many other garment factories here in Sri Lanka, MAs, they have well-experienced workforce, management to operating level. The experienced workforce, is that a resource? Operations resource? Experienced workforce, of course. With that, what they can do? If their workforce is experienced and well-trained, what they can achieve? Yeah, one competitive advantage. There can be many advantages developing based on that. Like what? Dependability, and quality, efficiency, cost even. Can you understand it? If they have well-trained, well-experienced workforce with them, their strategy could be based on that. That is the third perspective. I hope that is clear. So strategy can be developed based on their unique resources. Operations resources is here. And the fourth and the most practical and reliable approach now that businesses using for operational strategy development and all, that is called the fourth approach. We call it bottom-up perspective. Have you come across it before? Probably yes. What is the name of it? Bottom. What could be the name? How businesses can come up with strategies bottom up. The simple idea is this. Now, these are also known as emerging strategies. What is it? Emerging or emergent strategies. Emerging meaning they gradually develop, emerge from where? From day-to-day operations, from day-to-day activities, successful learning, right? That means most of the companies now, they keep developing their strategies based on their experience. If they learn something that they can do better on day-to-day operations, they consider that as a strategy in the long run. Let me give you one example. Assume a normal, let's say, again, maize kind of garment factory that we have, right? Now, due to certain reasons, assume that they lost their regular customers. Now, their old strategies are not working. Dependability strategy is not no longer valid now. Right? Assume suddenly, due to some reasons or due to some other developments in the South Asian region or in the world, they got new orders, one or two new orders from, let's say, they are producing for high-end brands. Now they got a brand. Now they got another order. Now that they need the delivery faster. Within 2 weeks' time, they should be able to complete the design, and then of course get the approvals. And within 3 weeks' time, they need the entire lot. Not the regular order, a new order that customers need rapid delivery. Can you understand it? So the dependability may not work. They need now work on speed. Okay. Luckily, just assume that the factory, one or two factories, they were available. So they just assign the orders to those two factories and get it done faster by arranging all the other capacity options, whatever the technology they had. They managed to deliver the order on time within 3 weeks' time. At such rapid orders, the prices and profit margins are little higher. Now assume that they successfully managed it. That experience may help them developing a new strategy. Right? Can you understand it? So based on that experience, now they say there are these type of orders that we can case. And for that, we get higher profit margins. They keep developing new strategy for another segment. From where they learn it through their own experience. So strategies can be emerged from successful learning. Have long-term direction. So likewise, pricing strategies can be developed not only the traditional, but we call top-down perspective. There are other perspectives. What did we discuss today? Less known, less studied area in operations management, something called operations strategy. It's all about having a long-term direction for operations decision. Having such long-term plan is very difficult. So that's a way to develop. There are 4 ways, in fact, that we identified here. Then, especially these competitive priorities or performance objectives are considered when businesses develop their operations strategies. Appropriate manner, their operations decision. That means medium term, short term decisions can be taken aligning with the same direction. So that success is highly likely. They can win the one. They can be successful. As finance managers, accountants, one day have worked with manufacturing industries, service industries. They have to understand what their strategies are and support them. Practice it. That's enough for today, and hope to see you next week. Meantime, I hope you will start working on the assignment aspect. Take care. Hope to see you next week. We will select few more topics on operations management.